Hello and welcome to this week's Football Talk podcast. I am Josh Call and with me is in high spirits Dave Nichols. How are you, Dave?
Very well. A very high-spirited Dave Nichols, if I do say so. Yeah.
Very well.
Slightly inebriated David Nichols on the other end of the podcast right now. So, yeah, I'm very good.
The question is anyone going to listen to this? Have you remembered to click record or are we just chatting?
We've the record button is pressed. We are 29
Brilliant.
Seconds into the podcast. It's all good.
Excellent. Into our 50th podcast, nonetheless.
Yes, number 50. Number 50. And we...
The big 50.
Yeah, we sort of, postponed last week's because we knew that the 50th would land after the Champions League final. So we've got quite a lot to discuss, and it's worked out
so
pretty
we can
well.
tell all the joy we could talk about. This would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got a lot of joy this end, Josh, so not because of the Champions League final, but because we've just discussing off air how unique my achievements are that's happened today. So, being a double winner, a double winner in two different countries. So just before I left the UK, I won the League Cup double with my team, and I've just today, I've been drinking. Today, won the League Cup double here in Singapore. So that was absolutely wonderful. But that's not what it's about.
Well done, Dave. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. I mean, it is football talk, so it's sort of what the podcast's about. But we're here to talk about what other people would actually be interested in, rather than my amateur football.
Major European leagues, major European football.
Exactly.
Here's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to cover the Europa League. We're going to cover the Champions League. But first off, we'll start with news items from across the world, which aren't those. And just some things that may have caught our eye. So, last time we spoke, actually, Dave, you announced breaking news on the podcast, and it was Vinny Company was leaving Man City, wasn't it? And
it was
just after the podcast finished, and I felt like we're almost kind of getting there. We talked about him studying. We talked about him kind of maybe coaching somewhere, and now he's combined playing and coaching, playing and managing. Player manager of his former, I think we mentioned Anderlecht as well, of his former club, Anderlecht. I mean, who doesn't love a player manager? It's
amazing. It's a player manager back at the club that made his career. It's just, I like...
What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly, that's the thing. That's the only problem. It's like, he's got to be a success, otherwise a little part of me will die. Like, he has to make this successful. Because it's what everybody would want, isn't it? At some point. Imagine if, like, I don't know, let's say, Harry Kane. Imagine Harry Kane in like 20 years' time comes back. Yeah, I was going to say Gareth Bale, but I don't know how much respect he has as a Tottenham fan anymore.
No, he's got to say, but I could never see him going into management. But
okay. So like Harry Kane in like maybe 10, 12 years' time, he's just hanging up his boots as he scores his last goal, and he's like, bam, I'm Spurs player manager. I mean, it'd be incredible, wouldn't it? You'd want him to do it. You'd want him to do a good job. Yeah.
Hopefully, he does all right. I mean, I think he's taken a few of the backroom staff from Man City with him. He obviously needs a very strong assistant manager with him. I think he's appointed someone but a role he's appointed to is someone as a head coach, which is sometimes what a manager's called. So I think maybe he's probably doing kind of management, playing light, and he's just kind of really, maybe he'll just play as and when needed. But what was nice for him in the end, winning the title, is that he actually came back and actually was a key part of it. He was a key part of their title running. Well, played games, obviously scored that thunderbolt against Leicester.
That's the thing. You can argue that
it wasn't just like
he won the league with that goal against Leicester, because that would have been a 0-0, which could have turned the tide quite favourably in Liverpool's favour. So yeah, he was really crucial to their running. It was incredible.
Yeah. So well done, Vinny Company, and best of luck. Other thing that caught my eye this week. At one point last week, in the week just gone by, in Serie A, Milan, Juve, Roma and Inter were all without managers.
It was incredible. It was incredible. I text my friends who's in like a different footballing group, and I was like, has this ever happened? This would be like the dream situation on Football Manager if you're doing like a journeyman save, moving around. You'd be like, oh my god, 4 of the biggest clubs in Italy.
Surely I'm going to get someone.
It's just, I can't remember it in my lifetime where you have 4 clubs that are that big in the same country all needing a manager. It's just, I mean,
So I was
just going to say, Conte's just been announced, hasn't he? As
Conte is at Inter.
So.
And I'm expecting Sarri to go to Juve.
Okay, all right.
And the other two are a bit. I don't know about the other two because obviously those two are the Champions League. They both got Champions League football. Milan, obviously, Gattuso left, didn't get Gattuso left, and also didn't take any of his rest of his contracts pay. Made sure the other members of his team were paid. He turned down something like $5.5 million net. He was going to get paid. So good guy Gattuso.
Yeah, good guy Gattuso. I'm not sure about that.
Good guy, yeah.
Well, he was in this sense, but on the pitch. If we're talking
on the pitch,
I don't think you can get the name good guy because we don't know what Rondon's like off the pitch, so he gets the good guy Rondon on the pitch. So I think you need to sort of rein that in a bit and pitch only. I think we need to class that.
Who
as.
knows if Rondon becomes a manager, it might be an absolute bastard, mightn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So, but. Yeah, I mean, a bit of news that caught my eye. Did you see the treble? Was it a treble hat trick? I'm pretty sure that's what you'd call it. A treble hat trick in the Under-20 World Cup.
Yes, I did. And do you see the player who scored it?
Erling Braut Haaland, I want to say is how you pronounce his name. And
do you know whose son he is?
Is it Alf-Inge Haaland's son?
It is Alf-Inge Haaland's son.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
Yeah. Also playing in that match, I think, was former Spurs keeper Erik Torslett's son, and also, I'm not sure who he played for, but Lars Bohinen's son also played.
Wow, okay.
We've touched on this before, and I'm still not quite sure what the driving factor is of sons of footballers going to make it some way. Because many people have children, but it seems like there's a higher proportion when you're a Premier League footballer. Is it genetics? Is it the fact that you can coach a little bit when they're younger? Your drive, the availability of high class coaching because you're at a club and they go, yeah, we'll take your son on.
I think that's I think it's a big mix. I think there is obviously some sort of genetics in it. I mean, generally good sports people have children that are good sports people, but I think there's also that sort of there's the availability of, like you say, the players will just be like, oh, you're still a coach or a player here, yeah, we'll take your son, why not, just put him into the academy, and he might not turn out to be a world beater, but he'll get that level of better coaching that an average Joe will have, sort of thing. So I do think that is a case of it. But it's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know. It didn't even click in my head when it said Haaland scores 9.
Yeah, and it's because Spurs have got Mauricio Pochettino's son and Timu Taino's son. So it'd be lovely to do a kind of players who we're not even like big players. Like, we're not talking about like the Ronaldos and Del Pieros of this world's sons. We're talking about kind of just your average Joe players and their sons cropping up. So it'd be quite interesting to see.
Yeah,
crops up in now. Other thing that caught my eye. So obviously Norwich got promoted this season.
Yeah.
Their just a little fact here. Their pre-season run-in was against Kings Lynn, Lincoln, Luton, Charlton, Paderborn, and Union Berlin. Right. What do you reckon links all those clubs?
They've all got an L in their name.
Well, no, because Paderborn doesn't.
Oh, damn.
But it's a good guess. Had me scrambling for that. They all got promoted this season.
No way.
Yeah. So every single team they played, and it's like a lucky charm. We're kind of drifting through those pre-season friendlies.
Yeah, that's a great little stat to have, Josh. I love that. That's a great quiz question.
They should all play each other again. They should all play each other again this season, surely.
You'd think so, yeah. You'd think so. But yeah, good. I like that.
And forevermore.
So, just another bit of news, because we're probably not going to be able to touch on it in too much detail, and there'll be a future episode in the summer in a bit more detail about transfers. But the transfer window is open, and some people have started buying people. So Bournemouth have got the new fullback that I think we touched on last podcast.
Yeah.
And West Ham have sprung to release a Spanish goalkeeper and sign another one on a free transfer in Roberto from Espanyol, who I don't know too much about. He looks quite a handsome chap, to be honest, but he's 33.
Is he?
So yeah, they've bought. It's sort of like, well, we'll lose Adrian and bring in another Spanish backup goalkeeper. I don't.
You thought maybe they just kind of
keep Adrian.
Maybe Adrian wanted to get. Yeah, he maybe must have wanted some game time or something, and they've just. He's not happy having backup player only on his squad status.
I mean, it made me think, like, when do you if you're a professional footballer, let's say you're a professional goalkeeper, right? Your job was a goalkeeper, and when would you think is the age that you go, yeah, that's me done as a first choice, I'm happy to sit on the bench? Like, what age do you think? Because this guy's 33. He's made something like 600 appearances over 3 different countries, playing in the first division of each country, and now he's quite clearly gone to West Ham. You'd think to just be a backup.
So, yeah, Fabianski's got it nailed on. Yeah.
So you'd think what? Yeah, my question to you is, sort of like, what age would you think that is as a goalkeeper? Because they're meant to peak quite late as well, goalkeepers. So
yeah, same age as us, isn't he, Dave? So same age as us.
Oh God, that's.
Would I be happy to sit on the bench and earn $10,000 a week? Yeah, 33.
33. Yeah, is that the perfect age? Yeah. 18. That's when I would do it.
Yeah. To be honest with you, yeah. Yeah, I do. I go Stuart Taylor route. Yeah, can I? No, you need to obviously have that experience so you can get that wage. But no, yeah, I can understand that kind of. Just before your mid-30s, go, you know what, I'm running. Obviously, he's kind of body dependent and ability dependent. You may feel like his body's failing him a bit and his powers are starting to wane, but maybe he wants to step into coaching. And do you see from one keeper kind of retiring but still playing to one who's fully retired? See Rob Green during the week
going out on a high, yeah.
Going out on a high and is now retired, yeah.
Yeah, lovely. I mean, he seems like a nice guy, Rob Green.
He does, doesn't he?
I've got nothing against him. I think he's gone out of the Europa League. So
do you remember in
USA?
Was it not him making? Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that. I mean,
I've got a little thing against him.
A little thing against him. Yeah, just a little thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good to see him go out on a bit of a high. Europa League. I mean, not many people can say that, can they? They've gone out hosting the Europa League trophy up high as their final game. How many appearances did he even make for Chelsea? Have you got that to hand?
He made one substitute appearance in a pre-season friendly, I think.
Amazing, absolutely amazing, incredible. And he gets a trophy. He'll get a medal for the Europa League because he was in the squad. Incredible. Talking about cup winners, did you see the African Champions League final?
What, the policeman smashing up the VAR?
Well, it was just the whole situation. The game got abandoned.
I've only seen that.
So, did you not hear the story about why the VAR got smashed up?
No. I just saw a headline going, the VAR was working until it was smashed up by a policeman. It's like, well, there's probably more to read there, but I skipped over that.
Right. So what happened is it was one. So the Champions League final in Africa is played over 2 legs, and it was 2. The first leg has been won 2-1 by.
Can we have that in Europe as well?
Yeah. The first leg it was won by 2-1 by the home team. I'm not going to try and pronounce the names because I'll absolutely butcher them. And then it was 1-1 in the second leg, and the home team in the second leg scored a goal which all the TV replays showed was onside. The linesman put his flag up to flag for offside. The referee disallowed the goal and refused to go to VAR. Right, and he refused to go to VAR because the officials had been told the VAR was broken. No one had told the players. So the players of the home team who had scored the goal that would have taken it to extra time and made it 3-3 on aggregate walked off the pitch in protest, and they didn't come back out for 65 minutes, by which time the opposition had been declared the winners. How mental is that to end the Champions League? It's absolutely mental. There you go, Josh. There's big news for you. How did you miss that?
That is big news.
It was incredible.
I don't know, but then there's the undertone of it that the VAR wasn't working because.
I don't. Yeah. I assume it was the policeman. I don't think he
corrupt as hell for me.
I don't think he battered the VAR system. I think it was a bit of more accidental. But I haven't. It wasn't
like a computer game where you're told destroy this and you just shoot it.
He went to as the goal went in, the away team manager went up to the VAR and pressed, "Do you want to restart the game? Exit, quit without saving." Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just mental.
Joys.
So they went into the change rooms, refused to come back out, and by default of not coming back out onto the pitch, the opposition won. They won the whole African Champions League. Yeah. So.
Ouch. On a light note, did you see the Man United versus Bayern Legends match last week?
I was going to bring that up. I did see it. I was going to bring that up purely for one reason alone, and my love.
David Beckham.
No, not even David Beckham.
What?
My love for Jaap Stam. Oh my god,
the
what
beast.
an animal. What an animal. He flew through the back of some players. It was amazing.
He did.
It was great to see David Beckham, and you've got all the graphics of Beckham doing crosses back in the day and the crosses in that game and how it looks very identical and things like that. And the goal, and he celebrated it crazily, and it was great.
Decent goal, actually. A little bit of a dribble from me. He never normally took a man on.
He put a man on his ass, didn't he? He put a man on his ass. It was good fun. It was good, and it was all in a good jest. And there was, I think I obviously I didn't watch the game because it was on at a stupid time here, but I watched the highlights of it. And Gary Neville got into a bit of space. It was something about 9 or 10 yards out and completely fluffed his shot. And
nice.
Yeah, it was just, there was a comment on it. It was like, some things never change. So, but yeah, it was a good game. It was good fun. I think Bayern Munich didn't put out too many of their 99 team, did they? It was more.
No, I didn't recognise.
I think it was a Bayern Munich 11, and then versus the Man United 99 treble heroes as they are. But yeah, that was good fun. Anything else in the news that's caught your eye?
AVB is back in management after quitting management to go do a Dakar rally. He's now back with Marseille.
Oh yeah, didn't he crash on the Dakar rally?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, most people do.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of a soft spot for AVB. He played very kind of rigid, effective football. I think at a point we got our highest points tally with him, and Gareth Bale kind of blossomed. But yeah, I like to see him succeed because he's got a bit of a reputation, a bit of a flop. But no, hopefully he does well at Marseille.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely ambivalent towards him. I have no feelings.
Oh yeah.
Either way, so,
Okay.
And I don't really care about French football. I think it's not the powerhouse it used to be. So, I don't know. Let's see if he uses it as a stepping stone to get somewhere else.
And my final bit of news is we obviously had the last bank holiday weekend. We had the playoffs, so we saw Tranmere, Charlton, and Derby. Aston Villa, sorry, get promotion to the Premier League.
Yes, good. Any thoughts on them?
Not all three of them to the Premier League. That'd be
crazy
for Tranmere fans. Yeah. But yeah, the final one, Villa. Yeah, I think a shout out to the Charlton Sunderland match for the magnificent own goal to put Charlton behind. That was fantastic.
Yeah.
And Tranmere was obviously last gasp again because that was last minute of injury extra time. But Aston Villa was a bit more of a formality.
Thoughts on Aston Villa in the Premier League?
It's going to be a tough ask. They've just announced a lot of players being released.
Yes, including Jedinak, who you thought
Micah Richards.
And Micah Richards just got released.
Yeah, finally.
Fucking hell, where's he been hiding? Has he been in a little cupboard or something? Yeah.
Yeah, he's been doing a Jack Rodwell.
Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The man who was purely talented because of his physical ability.
Yeah.
He was an absolutely bang average.
Can you remember when he moved to Fiorentina? How weird was that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How strange was that? He had a little half a season, I think, in Fiorentina on loan, didn't he? I'm pretty sure he did. I'll have to Google this.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah,
no, he did. And that's funny because is that kind of the multicultural kind of continental behaviour at Man City? Because obviously Joe Hart went on loan to Torino, was it? So that kind of City to Italian loan is it's quite rife.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Oh my goodness, yeah. In 4 years, he played 26 times in the league for Aston Villa.
Scored 1 goal as well.
Last time he made a league appearance of any note was in the 16-17 season.
That is so
Hasn't played
bad.
for 2 seasons.
He was so highly rated.
He's 30. He'll be 31 this month.
Oh my God. That's really bad.
That's just a waste of a career.
It is, yeah. Although he's probably a millionaire, so.
Yeah. Well, I'll be interested to see what he does with his time. Right, my final bit of news was just a quick one. We'll see how it progresses over summer. Potential Newcastle takeover.
Oh, it's quite exciting, isn't it? The cousin of Man City's owner.
Yeah, but then there's been rumours that he doesn't actually have any money and he's a bit of a fake sheikh. So
fake sheikh. Awesome. Yeah. I mean,
so we'll see how that progresses. Rafa Benitez might have dollar signs in his eyes at the moment, but we'll see.
The thing is, none of that really matters, does it? As long as he passes the stringent fit and person's proper test or whatever it's called,
Not that. It's not called that.
Is it not called that? Is that my alcohol brain kicking in? What's it called? Fit and... It's called something like that. It's definitely called something like that. I swear it's called something like
Go again.
Fit and proper person test.
Is that what it is?
I swear it's called that, yeah. I'm Googling it. I'm Googling it.
It is.
It is the fit and proper person test, yeah, for the Premier League. I told you. Don't doubt me.
It's the worst name ever. They need to be. Dave? Why do they need to be fit?
I don't know.
Fit for proper. We need proper people. We need proper people.
Proper football people. Yeah. Top players. Top owners. That's what we need. Yeah. The fit and proper ownership person's test. I thought I had it right. Don't doubt me, Josh. Don't doubt me.
Sorry, Dave.
But yeah, as long as he passes that, it doesn't really matter, does it? So he'll probably have enough money to just make it through that, and then buy the club, and they'll have another Mike Ashley on their hands.
Rack up some debt, and get some loans out on the company, and be quid in.
Yeah.
Right, shall we move on to some minor European trophies that were played during the week?
Yeah, go on then.
Let's start in Azerbaijan, everybody's favourite country to get to.
Yeah, I mean, what a logical place to host a final.
Yeah, so it was in Baku, in Azerbaijan, and before the match there was obviously word that Arsenal and Chelsea fans had returned lots of tickets.
Yes.
Quite understandably, because it's like 5,000 miles away. Henrik Mkhitaryan couldn't go. We chose not to go, I think, because they couldn't
they couldn't
his safety.
Yeah, guarantee his safety. Yeah. Also on that, did you see the video where, as Sky Sports were videoing something, two people got pulled over? Not pulled over. They were walking, but they got escorted to the side of the pathway by the police because they both had Mkhitaryan shirts on. That was interesting.
My goodness.
Live on Sky Sports, yeah, that was quite interesting.
Lumin Rebels.
So.
Yeah, I mean, if that wasn't bad enough, the game. Do you know what time the game was played?
Wasn't it like 11? Didn't it start on the Wednesday and finish on the Thursday?
Yeah. That's when you know. I mean, because they opened the stadium during the first half to get anybody in, but it's like, well, pretty sure anyone who's going to be there is there. It's going to be like 11:30 at night. No one's really not all. These gates have opened. Let me have a look in here. It's like, come on. Yeah.
Sleepwalking into the Baku Stadium.
Yeah, and so then the match starts, and immediately, like, cool, that's a big old camera angle, isn't it? That's wide. Is that because normally they start wide and they zoom in a bit? It's like, no. It's like me playing FIFA or Pro Evo. I use that wide camera angle so I can see what's going on. I can get those diagonal crossfield passes in, knowing there's a player over there, but. It started off quite enjoyable looking at it like that. When you're like, wish I'd zoom in a bit. It looks really cheap, and it did have a massive feel of like Chelsea versus a Baku 11 or something like that. It was.
It wasn't.
It didn't feel great. It was.
I mean, just before we
I thought, was the camera angle due to the empty seats? Did they go? We're not showing the pitch. We're not showing the stands.
Ooh.
Make sure you show all the pitch.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's quite a clever. A thought process from you, yeah. I've never really thought of it like that. That is to not show the empty seats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't know. Maybe it's not, but it's one way of doing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. I mean, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. I was going to say something.
Well, should we talk about the game?
Let's talk about the game. Yeah.
That's probably a good place to start. So I had chatted to a few people before the match. They thought, this Arsenal are going to do this, and I was like, well. Arsenal rarely ever keep a clean sheet, so we'll see how that goes. And you had that hope that Hazard was going to turn up and make it a spectacle, but the first half was pretty bleak, to be honest with you. But it all kicked off in the second half, really, didn't it? It was
for Chelsea,
not in the right way for Arsenal. It just, oh god, it's just a collapse. It was just really quite. I felt a little bit sad for them, to be honest with you.
No, bollocks, did you? I bet you were loving it.
I did. I felt a little bit sorry for him.
In what sense?
I couldn't love it at that point because Spurs hadn't played in the Champions League, so I didn't know. I couldn't be all cocky bags. So I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. So,
but Spurs have done really well to get to the final. This was a competition when Arsenal were in it. You'd have thought, like, you could have seen the draw and been like, Arsenal Chelsea is a pretty. That could happen if they avoid each other through the knockouts. Arsenal Chelsea could definitely be a final in the Europa League. No one would have picked Spurs to get to the final of the Champions League. So,
true.
I mean, I didn't feel sorry for Arsenal when I woke up and saw the score. So,
yeah. So little shout out to Giroud. Giroud, bit of a confusing player, but lovely with his head, isn't he?
yes.
Loves using his head. Lovely little stooped header. Pedro is a bit of a confusing player, isn't he? Like, if Pedro was to go to, say Pedro went to Watford, would he perform any better than Deulofeu? The man has won absolutely everything in the game. He's got World Cups, European Cups, Champions Leagues, but is he, because he's a good team player and he can fit into these, because he makes good distracting runs, he's two-footed, he works hard. But would he be alright if he was a big fish in a small pond?
Do you reckon he's more of like a sort of teacher's pet? Like, you know how they said like Fellaini was always kept on at United because he'll do exactly what the manager said. Is that what you think Pedro is? Like, he's not necessarily the best player in the world, but he's very good at just doing whatever the manager tells him. So he fits into any system.
Yeah, he can play a couple of positions, go left and right. Works hard. I think he's a manager's dream, really. And I like him. I think he's a really good player, a really good finisher, off both feet, and can go both ways. He dribbles with both feet as well, so you don't know which way he's going. He's kind of like Heung-min Son in that regard. Just with a little less of that star quality, I think, but maybe a bit more of that consistency. Because Son blows hot and cold, but. No, I think he's a good player, but it's just a bit of a confusing player. Because if you look at his trophy haul, you're like, wow, but then you're not going to tell your grandkids about Pedro, are you? You will tell your grandkids about Eden Hazard, though. You
would. He is incredible, and it's so disappointing that this is probably his last game in not in England, obviously, because it was in Baku. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like, to see someone can watch week in, week out. He's been absolutely unbelievable, and I'm going to miss him.
Yeah, and he's ended on a massive season, and he's done so well this season, and it's been good for Sarri's had a good season. Third Europa League winners, League Cup runners-up. It's been good, but Hazard, he's so dynamic, isn't he? He just shifts one way over, his explosiveness, and to be fair, Chelsea have done well to keep him for 7 seasons.
Well,
they were there at 21, left at 28. I mean, really, if you spend 7 seasons somewhere, you normally think you're going to spend the rest of your career there. That's a fair old stint.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what do you think for Chelsea after this season? Like, Hazard, let's say Eden Hazard goes and they get a transfer ban. Is it a collapse? Do they just?
No, I don't think it's a collapse.
What do you see them doing next year then?
So I see. Well, it'd be intriguing to see. I mean, I really would at this point in time would not be surprised to see Frank Lampard come in with John Terry or Frank Lampard, Jody Morris, or just some form of. You know what? Let's just go for this. And they've got all the youth players that they can kind of call upon. A lot have played well in the Championship. None of their players are playing in the summer. None are playing in the AFCON. None are playing in Copa America. Obviously, a few will be playing Nations League, but that's only a couple of games. So they've got a lot of time for their side to bond and get together and have a good pre-season. If they sort them out a manager early, if that is going to happen, they can get a settled squad and do quite well. I think they can still get top 4 because I think Arsenal and Man United are in more disarray than they are.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And talking of Arsenal, let's move on to the what's your initial thoughts for the game? Like the way Emery set up, or who he picked, or tactics and things like that. Do you think he got anything major wrong? Obviously did, but
hindsight, you'd say Ozil is just a shadow. I mean, I remember him at Real Madrid, and he was I really like Ozil because of his poison balance on the ball. He used to dribble, used to really kind of tear up people, and that his weight of pass was beautiful. It just himself, really.
Well, I think I think if we went back now and looked at Ozil at Real Madrid and we watched, I'm not talking highlight reels, I'm talking we watched 90 minutes every weekend of Real Madrid and Ozil of that era, I don't think Ozil will be as good as you remember. Honestly,
yeah, quite possible. I
don't think he will.
Football's developed in that time, and he's just a player who hasn't he's come to the Premier League, where high pressing football, especially for those that are attacking third, has become a really big thing, and he's not up to scratch on that.
Yeah,
I think personally he would have he looks back, I think he'd have massive regrets around coming to Arsenal 5-6 years ago.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think it's just a wrong career decision for him. And don't you? I mean, he left Real Madrid because of Gareth Bale coming in. Was it Gareth Bale coming in? They're trying to make space for Di Maria, and I don't think. I think he would really regret moving to Arsenal. Don't you? He's really hasn't achieved anything like he could have achieved in his career for the technical ability he's got.
Yeah, and I think now, like, the rumours are that his wages have priced him out of a move to somewhere else. It's sort of a similar situation to Gareth Bale, as you just mentioned him, sort of thing. You know, Arsenal probably don't really want him, and they want him off the wage bill, but his wages are too much that someone else would pick it up, and you're sort of in that really awkward moment where it's sort of like, well, I don't want to be in this team, and this team don't really want me, but I can't go anywhere else. So yeah, I think I've never really rated Ozil. I've never rated him as highly as other people have. He's clearly a good technical player, but I've never rated him highly. But my issue with Arsenal is, now I know Petr Cech has played most Europa League games. I wouldn't have played him knowing that the announcement has come out that he's going to be Chelsea's director of football, whatever he's going to be, sporting director.
Yeah, that is a technical director. Yeah,
and Leno's a better goalkeeper, and I would have played Leno. I would have wanted to play Leno anyway.
Cech did nothing wrong, though, did he?
No, but it's... I don't know.
Yeah, I can understand it is a quandary, but overall I think Cech had a good game. Don't think he could have done anything with the goals.
Yeah.
The player could have done something with goals, and was playing purely because of with the regular player's injury, as Ainsley Maitland-Niles was pretty much at fault for at least 2-3 of the goals. I think it's just he's not really a right wing back. He's more central midfielder by all accounts, but he really did get quite out of position, and obviously for the first goal I think it was, and then was tracking back and fouled for the penalty. It's just, you look at that side and you think, you really have got some dross in that side. And there's a fair few players who've got to leave. They haven't got the money to fully rebuild. You can see they do need, but they had like is it Joe Willock came on, and I thought he did really well. And I think they really do just need to put some faith about maybe 3, 4, 5 players in that squad have got to be from their youth setup. Get rid of the old or the frail or the just poor players, and then maybe sign 1 or 2 where you can, and rebuild. I think for so long they've just tried to be a profitable club, but not really looking at make sure they generate future income. Not pushing to the title, going, you know what, we can make profit, we can be top 4. But if you're not building a side to push for the title, you could drop out the top 4.
Well, I think
you need to aim high.
Like, I'm going to annoy a number of Arsenal fans, and probably one specific Arsenal fan who I know listens, called my friend Kyle, and I think I just think I can see Arsenal slipping into sort of what Spurs used to be. You know, where Spurs were a bit more. You could argue they are still a selling club, but we don't know. But they were more of a selling club where they would nurture all this talent through, and then a bigger club would just come in and steal, like a Michael Carrick and Berbatov and players like that. And I just think, like, excuse me if you could hear the thunder in the background.
Thunder and lightning.
There's a huge storm going here. Yeah. And I think Arsenal seem to be regressing to that, as in Spurs. The common thing with Spurs nowadays is that you say they don't have the squad depth to do it, but even when you compare their squad to Arsenal's squad, Spurs have got a much better squad depth in it, with players that can come and set into it. And I just think that's what Arsenal are sort of looking like what Spurs were 4 or 5 years ago, when you sort of think, yeah, with a bit of reinforcements they could potentially challenge the top 4, but they're not going to do it every single year. And I think something's fundamentally wrong at Arsenal, and it's probably the management, Kroenke, or whatever his name is. It's just, I just don't see it. I don't know, it's, you know, pot calling the kettle black coming from a Man United fan, but I don't see it going in the right direction anytime soon.
No, and as I think Emery's a decent manager, but you're looking at like the last night's match. Obviously, I think Pochettino and Klopp and Pep Guardiola are in absolute leagues ahead. Personally, they're what I think they attract kind of respect from opposing fans because everybody goes, you know what, they are top quality managers, and who knows who Chelsea will appoint, and I think Man United's management is stopgap.
Yeah.
But Emery, I think he's just maybe the best of the rest. He's not outstanding. He's won a fair bit in his career and has had some big clubs, but I just don't think he is that top level manager.
I think it's very hard to find that top level manager. I think it's, as like you say, there's not many of them out there. But would you have called? Was Klopp a top level manager before he joined Liverpool? Probably not. No, you wouldn't have put him.
Well, he's
no,
probably similar to Emery because he'd won a title and he'd won he didn't. He lost
in the final. Yeah. So, okay. So you could probably put him. Yeah, okay. So
again, he was probably best of the rest at that point. But I think it's his whole demeanour, like the demeanour of both Klopp and Pochettino, and to a lesser extent, Guardiola exude is like you just want to be around him. Players want to play for him. I mean, Emery reminds me of a Dracula. So yeah,
he does. Yeah, he does. Yeah.
But
okay.
I think it's a really going to be difficult summer for Arsenal personally.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. So I could agree with that. So, we're talking about Pedro. I've just read a very interesting stat that I will openly admit I've read off the BBC page right this minute. He's become the 5th player to score in a European Cup final, a Champions League final, and the Europa League final. So there you go. Like you say, you would never tell your grandkids about Pedro, would you? But he's actually got a very good CV. So, yeah.
Well done, Pedro. Right, should we move on? Come on, let's just talk about it. Let's get it over and done with.
All right. You go, and I'll interject when I feel necessary.
Okay. So this last week, I've not enjoyed this last week in the build-up to the Champions League final, just out of fear mainly. I was fearful of how we might get spanked, and when Liverpool beat Barcelona, I was upset because I have no qualms about being beaten by Barcelona if we were to get through, because we hadn't beaten Ajax at that point. But losing to Liverpool, I have a lot of issues with, because mainly I don't know any Barcelona fans, and so I haven't enjoyed this the build up to this match. Started getting a bit more enjoyable just before, the anticipation was rising, and it was kind of like, okay, it's exciting now, but mainly nervous, and I didn't enjoy the match either. That is, again, you're never going to tell your grandkids about this match, and so often it happens when sides from the same nation play each other. I mean, I think probably this may go down as one of the worst Champions League finals ever. Other contenders are the Milan-Juve match in 03-04, probably the Chelsea-Man United match in Moscow. Again, I think that was a standout match, and this one was just, I don't really know what happened to him. I mean, before this match, it was all going around. Spurs have conceded in the first 5 minutes to Man City, to Ajax, to Barcelona, to PSV. It was like, right, let's keep it tight. Just, it's not a big ask. First 5 minutes. 5 minutes, it's not much, that's long at all. Literally 30 seconds in, Sissoko's there, gesturing to Trippier to, I don't know, normally you do it when there's an overlap and he's gesturing to a player to track the runner. But they're marking one person. He enters the box, and I do think that Mane goes, you know what, plonking it right on his big old arm, and he kind of catches his arm, kind of catches his chest. And I know, letter of the law, it's a penalty, but it really, really fucks me off that it's a penalty, because for me, penalties, it's always really infuriating. Like when a penalty, you get a free shot at goal when the foul that was committed is not stopping something so clear a goal opportunity. The XG from, say Mane was to shoot there and hit his arm, the XG compared to the XG of a penalty is just so dramatically different. It's like, it really seems harsh that a penalty gets given for that, but Sissoko is stupid. So 30 seconds in, penalty's given, minutes later they score, and I'm like, oh god, right, we've got 90 odd minutes, or best part of 90 minutes to come back from it. And so the game continues, and it was shocking, absolutely shocking game.
I did wake up
so bad.
And so I woke up and I actually watched. I watched the highlights. I didn't.
You started watching it and then fell asleep?
No, I didn't. Because obviously I had a very big game of football today that I wanted to be prime condition for. So I didn't stay up and watch it, but I managed to get up and watch it before finding out the score. So I watched the highlights before finding out the score. The highlights didn't make me think, oh god, I'm gutted I missed that. I mean, it was, even the highlights were shit.
I know, it's so funny because like, it probably goes down as one of the greatest Champions League seasons of all time, with a really, really poor finale. It's very Game of Thrones. It's very on trend.
Josh. Yeah, nice. Good. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
I like that.
I did enjoy Game of Thrones, but not the last series. Very rushed. But this game was not rushed. It was slow. I mean,
it was always
Liverpool had pass success rate of 65%. We had something like. Yeah, and they had 35% possession, and like you think, wow, Spurs must have just been pressing them so hard and dominating the ball. No, they just couldn't pass. We could just pass slightly better, and
it was
hindsight, and
it was always on to a losing, or at least a very, very tough end. With how the semi-finals played out, it was always going to be very tough for the final to live up to it, because obviously Liverpool turning around the Barcelona result and you guys winning in the last minute against Ajax, it was always going to be tough for the final to live up to it. And like you say, I think whenever it's two teams from the same country, it's always a bit more of a cagey affair, and it's just it was shit. It was was shit.
And this is always going to be the case. We lose. Poch makes the wrong decision with Kane, and I mean, Klopp made the wrong decision with Firmino, because Firmino, I mean, you could tell he wasn't going to play well because he hadn't done his hair. He didn't care. He just had a mop of a hair and he didn't care. And thought, well, they're bringing Origi on. Ha! And obviously Kane played the 90 minutes. And to be fair, he was no worse than anyone else. Ali didn't play well. Son was probably the brightest lights. Moore did a bit, but Mane, of the side's attacking three, Mane was the only one who did anything of any note, really. Salah was willing, but really didn't create any chances. Scored his penalty, but was kept pretty quiet by Vertonghen and Alderweireld all night. Mane was the one who had that chance, was able to make a bit of a difference. But I personally, I still think, looking back, a few times Spurs were able to break on Liverpool's back four. Moura would have been more adept at that. Kane was kept quiet, so you think coming on as a sub may have done something, but this game was completely ruined by a pen in the first 30 seconds, really.
Yeah. I was going to ask, you're chatting about Lucas Moura. I've got to ask, would you be pissed off if he requested a transfer now? He's literally got you through to that Champions League final, and then I would
be pissed off, because he shouldn't be so petty about it. Origi before the match was benched and has scored 2 to get past Barcelona. You can't be so short-sighted and think about one game. He surely knows that Harry Kane is the talisman, can grab a goal from anything. I think he'll be fucked off, but he needs to. It's a team game. It's a squad game.
Yeah,
they've all pulled their weight. Harry Kane got some vital goals to get us through. It's not just it's not the last step that takes you. He's every step along the way is taking you up to that point. So if he cited that as his reason, I think there's a lot of decisions made in football. You can't please everybody.
I don't think he will. But, by the way,
no, I don't think he will. I think
it's more of a hypothetical.
It was and I can imagine he'd be upset, but very anticlimactic overall. I wasn't over. I thought I'd be more upset after the final whistle, but because of how poor the match was, I think and I had almost 90 minutes of being a goal down to prepare myself for losing. It kind of like, well, there it is. But,
I think it would have been a lot harder to take if you had scored an equaliser before Origi scored that late.
Yeah.
If it had gone 1-1, then you would have been given that hope, wouldn't you? But as soon as you concede a goal that early, you're sort of like, well, it's against us now. We've got to brace ourselves for the loss. But and
Origi, Origi came on and was atrocious. Like we started to play well when he came on, because he was an absolute attacking black hole. That guy. I'm not sure he made a successful pass. He literally Liverpool attacking. Origi tries to pass to Salah, intercepted. Spurs attack, and then, I mean, what a finish! I mean, pops out
left-footed,
side netting, beautiful. And I mean, I'd be much more accepting, I suppose, if it was just 1-0. That was a nice finish, but it's still just a little bit perturbed by the penalty at the start. But I mean, well done Liverpool overall, because to get they perform very well, and they're very good in Europe. They really are. I mean, Klopp, I think every season he can do has taken them to a European Cup final, I want to say.
Did he?
You've had 2 Champions League finals and a Europa League final.
Yeah.
I don't know, has he been there 3 or 4 seasons?
This is his. So he joined halfway through, didn't he? So he's been there 3.5. So in his full seasons, I think he's taken them to Europa
Maybe
League and
one season off, I think.
Yeah, it might have been the Europa League final in the season he took over. And then they had a season off, not getting to a final, and then back-to-back Champions League final. Either way, it's mightily impressive. Yeah,
mightily impressive. So he's won every knockout, 2-legged knockout match. So yeah, well done Liverpool. And it's just as soon as the game finished, it turned off. So who knows how the celebrations went.
I mean, there's an interesting stat that obviously not watching the game, I depended on the highlights, and then I read reports and read stats and things like that. So a very interesting stat that said Alisson made the most saves of any goalkeeper in a Champions League final since that stat had been started, sort of thing. Since they started recording that stat. Yeah, Alisson, that's the most saves by a goalkeeper in a Champions League final. In that game.
So we did create a number of, not even half chances, a number of shooting opportunities as the game progressed. But I think Alisson was called out by Summers man of the match, and he wasn't. He made good saves. Well, saves you expect to make. Probably dealt with them quite well because they didn't go back into a danger area, but I really wouldn't call him out as a man of the match, personally. I think maybe...
Was he man of the match because everybody else was so dross?
Yeah, I think I thought Matip played really well, personally. Matip and Van Dijk played really, really well. Trent Alexander-Arnold attacked well but defended atrociously. I hadn't seen that side to his game before, but he got caught out a number of times. But no, Alisson, I think maybe people like that to contrast. Oh look, the expensive signing has made Liverpool Champions League winners. If he was there last year, they'd have won it as well. But no, he did well, but it didn't make any saves that I wouldn't expect a non-concussed Karius to make.
Fair enough.
The only highlight I can take is that there's been no Spurs leaving announcements yet. I mean, Christian Eriksen didn't stand there and go, this is goodbye, so that's a slight positive. Okay,
alright. So we were texting before the game, and we were texting each other, and again, I've only watched the highlights, so I need your input on it. We were texting about Kieran Trippier. How did he play? Because we were both saying, if there's going to be a fuck up, it'll more than likely be from Kieran Trippier. So
well, he was both goals came from his area of the pitch.
Okay.
But it's difficult. I mean, the first one, he's out of position, the ball played over. He didn't deal with Mane very well to begin with. He got caught out a few times and had to track back quite quickly. But the first goal, obviously the penalty, maybe could have engaged Mane knowing he's got Sissoko's back up, but no, I think it's Sissoko's error really. The second goal comes from his area of the pitch, but it comes out from a corner, so he wouldn't have been in position there. So no, he did okay in that match, but I still would like to see him turn into glue.
Okay, alright. I mean, I
sold to 30 million to Napoli, one of the two. Right.
Well, there's surely one you'd definitely want out of those. If that's your two options, surely you're picking glue.
Depends. Is this brand new glue which is going to be revolutionised, and Prittstick are going to be put out of business, and I'm going to be therefore a glue magnate and make a lot of money off this glue? I don't know.
Well, why are you making the money? Daniel Levy makes the money.
Trippier is stickier.
Oh, there's your tagline. Turn him into glue. Turn him into glue.
Yeah. Just give me the cash. Just give me the mother flipping money. Alright?
I mean, I haven't got anything else to say on the Champions League final. Obviously, with your team being involved in it, is there anything else you wanna venture on before we move to our the Wiki Files, I guess? But is there anything else?
I would say, I think this is going to be good for Spurs. It's an experience, obviously, going through a whole process. I think it will just make them want to realise that they can achieve it. So next year's Champions League, you know what, we can get there, and we'll be more prepared when we get there. It'll give them that drive to achieve it again, because obviously Liverpool lost it last year and they won it next, and so I'm not saying we're identical, but we have a good set of transfers in the summer, build upon it, and it's there. We know it's there, and they can push on and know that the journey up to it has been absolutely amazing. Probably the highlight of my time as a Spurs fan in all my years, those 2 matches against City and Ajax, probably the best time of my Spurs life. So I want to say thank you to all the Spurs players for that, and all the whole team. And I'm sure we can do better than that, because if you have more than £0 to spend, you can buy someone who can actually play midfield. All right.
Okay, a good ending note there. So, okay, let's move it on. We'll move it on because I know you wanted to talk about a few highs and lows of the season and stuff like that for our respective clubs. But before that, Josh, you know what's coming.
Hit me.
I got a wiki file. Here comes a wiki file. I got a wiki file for you. Hey, right. So Josh has sent me a wiki file. It's on screen for all of you now who are on the YouTube side of listening, I guess. And what the hell is this? Okay, so last week or last podcast, we introduced the rule that even if you know exactly who it is, you have to talk through it all so that we don't ruin it and everybody can play along at home, which I think is a very good idea, because Josh obviously just pounced on the fact that he knew. Who was it that I gave you last week? I can't remember who it was. No, it was me, wasn't it? You gave.
Was.
No, was it?
It was Emerson Boyce, wasn't
Emerson
it?
Boyce,
yeah, you gave me Emerson Boyce.
Because I accidentally put in the nationality in there as well.
Yeah.
And this is I've had a couple of beers, so it's always going to be harder, but I get the excuses in.
Beer of choice, Dave? What beers did you have?
Well, it was Asahi we had today, which is very nice. It's an Asian beer. It's nice.
I know it well. Yeah.
It's not my favourite, but it is nice. It's good to have. It goes down quite easily after a game of football.
Yeah, it's quite a fresh taste, I think.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, this guy started his youth career at Lyon. He then played for Lyon between 1988 to 1995. Making 237 appearances and scoring 13 goals. He then got a move to PSG, and they wouldn't have been oil-rich PSG by then, in 95 to 98, making 80 appearances, scoring 7 goals. He then got a move to AC Milan, 98 to 2000, playing 34 times in 2 seasons with 1 goal.
Won the league there, by the way. He won the league there.
He won the league at Milan, okay.
Yeah.
So as part of that, he went on loan to Venezia. So he couldn't have done too much in the league win. He did, because he moved to Venezia.
No, he won it in the first season, and then second season we're like, well, we weren't key and instrumental winning the league, so we'll get rid of you. But
so that's interesting.
Yeah.
So he won the league in 1 season with Milan whilst playing 34 games, and then got shipped out to Venezia. So he must have played quite a lot of games in the title-winning league.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. 16 games on loan, no goals. Moved back to France to Marseille 2000 to 2002, 32 appearances, 0 goals. And then he got his move to what I assume was Bolton Wanderers in the Premiership on loan. 2001 to 2002, 14 appearances, 0 goals. That got him a permanent move to Bolton. 2002 to 2006, making 134 appearances. Oh, I just thought of the only Frenchman I thought of that plays with Bolton, but I'll carry on going. 134 appearances, 5 goals. He then left Bolton to play for Birmingham, still in the Premier League in 2006, 2007. That was. I was at university. Was I at university? It was Josh. Was I at university in 2006, 2007? I must have been.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, and I was at Birmingham, so I probably would have seen him play.
Birmingham was Championship, though.
Yeah, so I probably went and saw him play because it was cheap tickets. 25 appearances, 1 goal.
Shit stadium, St Andrews, isn't it?
It's not the best. Yeah, it's not the best. And then Leicester, 38 appearances, 0 goals over 2 years, from 2007 to 2009, but went on loan to Hereford. Wow, that's a drop. For 8 appearances he made at Hereford. And then he had a solitary year after 2 years out of the game. He had a solitary season where he didn't make any. What's the point of this being on Wikipedia? He didn't make any appearances and didn't score any goals for Las Latte.
Completeness, Dave. One of the key rules of accounting: completeness.
Okay, all right. Okay, fair enough. I'm pretty sure I'm looking at Bruno and Gotti.
You are looking at Bruno
Yes.
and Gotti.
As I was reading, I literally had no idea until I thought of the only French player I remember playing for Bolton Wanderers. Bruno
Now I
and
want to
Gotti.
push you on that because you mentioned that, and you are so far wrong.
Really?
You know so many more.
French players that play for
Bolton Wanderers.
Oh, Yuri Djorkaeff.
Yes.
When you say many more,
Yeah, many. I could name at least 5 off the top of my head.
Oh, 5. No, this is a new quiz. I like this. We said we weren't going to do a quiz this week, but this is it. 5 players, French players that play for Bolton. Yuri Zhirkov, Bruno Ngotti. Oh my God, 5 players off the top of your head.
I've said it. I'm just thinking of it. One.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go. Nicholas Anelka.
Oh yeah, I forgot he played for Bolton. Yeah, okay.
The fullback played for Roma. Vincent Candela.
He was Italian, Josh.
Remember Vincent Candela?
He was definitely
Vincent
Italian.
Candela was
he
French.
was definitely Italian.
100%.
Candela.
You check that. Yeah, Vincent Candela was French. Played for Roma.
Oh yeah, French footballer. Yeah, French footballer.
Yeah.
Vincent Candela. Vincent Philippe Antoine Candela. Now that it's written like that, he's definitely French. Yeah. So.
The Liverpool legend, David Ngo, a fellow N''G, man. Not many N''Gs. How many have I got?
That's well, I think you're up to 6, to be honest.
Yeah.
Ngog took you to 5. Ngog took you to 5.
There we go. Yeah.
Fair enough, mate. Well played. Well done. Yeah. There you go. A little quiz.
I don't really have too many memories of Bruno Ngotti.
No,
to be honest.
No, neither do I. I think he had quite a square head.
Yes, I think he had a very sharp haircut.
Yeah, military haircut. That's what I'd go. He's got a very square head. He's got a very square head. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Powerful look head, that is.
It's
so really, really smash ahead of that one.
I was just thinking that. Like, it's a very Harry Maguire, his head. It's very Harry Maguire.
Harry Maguire needs that haircut, doesn't he?
So, he does. I mean, although with that haircut, he would be even more of a slab head. But that is a sort of... That's a sort of head that you just think he should be scoring more goals than he did. Like, he should be attacking the ball from corners. I mean, I have no idea how tall he was. Does it say that on Wikipedia? Yeah, 1.8 metres. That's not very tall, actually.
1.88 metres, so 6'2".
6 foot. Oh, okay, that's pretty tall. It's taller than me. It's pretty tall.
Yeah, it's taller than me. He must have partnered, unless because Ivan Campo, or maybe because Ivan Campo sometimes played in defensive mid, but Fernando Hierro maybe. How ridiculous was this?
I know. I was trying to think
when
about
when you actually look back and mention the names, you go, actually, this is ridiculous, isn't it?
I can't believe Ngotti won the title, the Serie A title with AC Milan. He made 25 appearances. He played alongside
he made
Maldini.
his debut for France. He made his debut for France with none other than Lilian Thuram and Zinedine Zidane.
Wow, what is incredible!
Didn't quite have the same impact. Only went on to make experiences, but yeah.
Wow. Okay. Oh, Bruno Ngotti. There you go.
There he is. Yeah. I am a big fan of a player with an apostrophe in his name. He's I feel like you make
what drew you
to
Ngotti for this week's Wiki Files?
I was on Transfer Market, one of my favourite websites. Check it out. No E in market. It's German. I'm not sure that's how you spell market in German. But
I was going to say, are we? There's no A in football because we're German.
Yeah. But yeah, Transfer Market have a podcast and they end it with, remember, there's no E in market. I was about to say, there's no E in football.
Right.
Yeah, and I was just looking back over previous seasons, and you know, I thought, Bolton have always had a random foreign player, and I obviously like going foreign. Dave likes to keep to his old English women, and so yeah, I mean, I'm like, Bruno Ngotti. I remember he came from Italy, and he must have had a few clubs. When I clicked on his Wikipedia, I was like, beautiful. Couple of loans, tick. Couple of major European clubs, tick. Plays for Bolton, and then imagine that. You go, my career's going Lyon, Paris Saint-Germain, Milan, ends with Birmingham, Leicester, Hereford. It's like, wow.
What a fall from grace. I've just googled googled the surname Ngotti, right? He was a free kick taker. Did you know that?
I don't remember. What?
He scored free kicks for Milan and PSG. He goal. There's something on Facebook.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah. Well, that's all I can see at the moment. Like, I haven't looked at it anymore, but
Well, he's got his league goals. He scored. He scored 20. Oh, he got loads of goals at Lyon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loads of goals, 13. In 237 appearances.
Yeah.
237 appearances, Josh. 13 goals. That's not a lot. That's not loads. Right, that's enough about Bruno and Gotti. We could chat about Bruno and Gotti for at least another 2 more minutes. So let's move on.
Let's move on.
Highs and lows.
Yeah, the season is drawn to a close now, and I just wanted to and I'll pose a question to you, listeners, that can you put below or tweet us, for a club you support, what was your highlight, your moment of the season? It could be a match, could be a moment in a match. Might not be a match at all. Might be something that happened outside of the 90 minutes. Your low light of the season. Again, the stipulation applies. Your player and your team's goal of the season. Just shows 4 elements and what you think. So, Dave, I'll start with my highlight of the season.
Go on then.
I reckon you could probably guess it. It is Lucas Moura. The ball. Sissoko kicked the ball up. Llorente's challenging with Matthias de Ligt. De Ligt gets a foot on it, but it goes back onto his back 4. A Ajax defender slips. Dele Alli flicks it round him. Lucas Moura's through. Smash. Bottom right hand corner. Spurs are through to the Champions League final. That I have watched that on YouTube far too many times. I have.
It's a good highlight.
Really, it's a fantastic highlight. That probably might be the highlight of my Spurs life. That moment there.
Okay, nice.
Majestic. So Dave, this might be a bit tougher.
No, I've got
they
it.
fall in the same competition.
Yeah, I've got my highlight.
Yeah. Go for me. Hit me. Highlight of the season.
PSG beating PSG to get through in the Champions League.
Is it the Rashford penalty, the Lukaku goals? Is there a highlight of that? At 90 minutes, or is it?
No, it's not. I want to take the whole. The club was so down before that, and then Solskjaer obviously came in. We had a bit of momentum in the league, and then we went and played PSG, and it was just the whole experience of the uplifting nature of it all. So I don't want to pin it down to a moment. I just want to put that game, like the second leg of that game, as the highlight when it all just went right. It was just great. So that's my highlight.
Excellent. Okay.
I mean, I've got loads of lowlights.
Yeah. We'll just have to pick one. So I'll start with my low light, and I mentioned 2. One is the lowest I felt all season, but then it soon went away. And then the second one is the full one. So the lowest I felt all season was the 90-odd minute away at Man City. Eriksen gives the ball away. Aguero's through, lays it back to Sterling. Sterling tucks it away. Man City are through. I was on the floor of my lounge, about to burst into tears. And then it all went silent. And I was like, what's happening? They are overrules offside. And from the lowest to the highest, I was just, that was just amazing.
So your actual low light was something that didn't even happen?
No, I just felt it was a worthy mention. My low light is clearly last night. Is
that actually your low light? Okay. I know the whole...
It's losing the Champions League final, the low light.
Yeah, but again, you weren't... Yeah, I know.
We weren't expected to be there, but we were there, and we played against a Liverpool side who were absolute dross, and we couldn't manage to blow in. Oh, yeah, it's my low light.
Okay.
What would you have as my low light?
I don't know, something in the league when you were so close to Man City and 2-horse title race.
A lot of things unravelled there.
Yeah,
a lot of things unravelled. Yeah.
I mean,
it does seem like an absolute age ago that we were being spoken about as title challengers, because we dropped like a stone after that.
Yeah, I thought there would have been something around there, but maybe Harry Kane getting injured, or did that affect it all? I don't know. I don't know. You're the Tottenham fan. If your low light is losing the Champions League final, then that's the low light. I can't influence it.
It is, mate.
So
it is.
Well, my low light, as I said, there's plenty of them, but if you want me to pick just one, I actually honestly think one of the lowest points I've ever felt in recent history as a Man United fan is losing 2-0 to Cardiff, already relegated Cardiff, 2-0 at home, playing quite a strong team. It was dreadful. It was just dreadful. It was. Adds into the fact that I had to get up at, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning to watch it. It was dreadful. It was dreadful. It was. Yeah, it was that feeling of, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, like I was saying before the PSG game and that momentum we had, thought it turned a corner, and then it all went downhill again, and you just thought, what do you need to pick me up for the end of the season? You need a home game against already relegated Cardiff, and that's exactly what we got, and you're just like, oh.
Send the fans away on a high, and they can enjoy their summer. And
it's just, it was, I mean, there's plenty to do with Mourinho, but I think overall for the season, it was just dreadful. I'm not lying. Like, when Mourinho got sacked, I thought, okay, we're probably not going to get past PSG. If we can get into the top 4, that'll be useful. It'll be really good and everything like that. I'm not really expecting us to get there, but at least we'll end the season on a high because our run-in is really easy. And then what did we do? We fucked up and drew with Huddersfield and then lost 2-0 at home to Cardiff, and it was just like, oh my god, like, this is awful. It was just awful. It was just, I just didn't. Yeah,
I'm not going to argue that. That would have been my choice as well, because
it hurts me talking about it.
Yeah.
It hurts me talking about it. So
yeah. Okay, so I'll move on to Spurs' player of the season, and I'm torn now because if you asked me before last night, I'd have said Moussa Sissoko. His road to redemption has been fantastic. At the start of the season, I'd have sent him off for glue with Kieran Trippier. Actually, Kieran Trippier wouldn't have been Brit stick at that time. He'd have been fine because he was on a high from World Cup, and I was like, yeah, great stuff. Sissoko would have been there, and he's had a fantastic season. It's just, but last night he really didn't pull up any trees, and he conceded a penalty in the first minute. But I think I've still got to go with him.
I mean, he did win. Didn't he win Spurs' Player of the Year? Or Players Player or something?
Players Player and Legends Player of the Year, yeah. So Son won the Player of the Year, but yeah, he's had a fantastic rise. And I don't think I'd have him down as a starter, but I think he's a very good player to have around your squad.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, he's been my player of the season.
Okay, well, we can veto that question for me. So,
what? You've not got a player of the season?
Well, I mean, can you give a player of the season in such a bad season? I mean, it's
yeah. A lot of Man United fans I know have talked about Lindelof being player of the season, and I was a bit confused by that.
It's hard because you've got the Mourinho section, then you've got the Solskjaer section. If it was just going for the Solskjaer section, I think Lindelof has done pretty well.
You've got 3 sections, haven't you? You got Mourinho permanent, Solskjaer caretaker, and Solskjaer permanent.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going purely stats, it has to be Pogba. It has to be Pogba for the stats that he's had this season. He's our top goal scorer. Yeah. He's our top assister. I think we've won the most games this season when he's been in the team. I think there's some stat like that. Probably lost the most as well when he's been in there, but they don't talk about that. So, it's like picking the shiniest turd, isn't it? It's like
it is. That would be a fun game, to be fair. I'd laugh a lot in that game.
Yeah, you would. That's definitely your sort of humour game, isn't it? That one.
Yeah. So I think you got to go for Pogba, but is he going in the summer?
It's rumoured in some circles that £148 million has been agreed with Real Madrid. But I think it's Real Madrid or nothing, and I think it depends on how much they have to spend to get Eden Hazard, and who they let go, because they have to sell people. They'll have to sell people.
Yeah.
I could see it going like trundling along all the way through the transfer window, getting to deadline day, and something happening between Bale coming to us and them getting Pogba and giving us a shed load of money that we run out of time to spend. So I can see that happening. I don't want him to go. I like Pogba. I think if he has the team built around him, I think he'd be good. It just depends on if he have that patience, and he has that patience, I think is more key. I don't think it's necessarily the team. I think if he has the patience to stay at the club for a couple of years, maybe, or one more year without winning anything, and then seeing us challenge in 2 years' time, that would be quite useful. But yeah, the way the season ended, I can't see that happening, and I think he will go. I'm undecided.
Ooh.
I'm undecided. I think
Okay.
I do think he will go, but it all depends on how much money Real Madrid have spent on Eden Hazard. I think so. What do you think, as an outsider? Do you think he's gone?
Yeah, I think he's gone.
Okay.
I think he's a textbook Real Madrid. Kind of go back to Galacticos signings, and Eden Hazard, Paul Pogba, maybe even blooming Christian Eriksen to throw in as well, or maybe just a left back. I think I can see him going.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, we'll end it then with your team's goal of the season. The best goal your team scored, and for me, is Heung-min Son versus Chelsea. We're at home, at Wembley, and it's just one of those moments I love in games when a player just puts on the afterburners and blitzes past the defending player. And I mean, it seemed like maybe I'd be able to blitz past Jorginho in that moment because he was like running through treacle, but Heung-min Son just rinsed around the outside Jorginho. David Luiz comes in and does a air kick and he tucks it in, but that was just lovely, and we won the game, so that was nice. And Heung-min Son has that in his locker. He can score. Well, he normally only scores outrageous goals, but that was a lovely one. What about you, Dave? Is there a goal that stands out for you in United?
There is, and
the one that stands out for me is in that ridiculous game against Southampton.
Yes, Andres Pereira. That's my goal of the season.
Andres Pereira.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's it. Yeah, that's the goal of the season. Yeah, you've guessed it. He's like a really, really good curling effort. It went postage stamp in the top corner, in front of the Stretford end, outside the box. It was just brilliant. It was.
Isn't he also gone this summer?
No, I think he's got another year on his contract. I think when we sent him out on loan last season, we also gave him a new contract. I think. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to have a check, but that's my goal of the season, and I'm struggling to think of others that were any good. I think Juan Mata scored quite a good one against Juventus in the Champions League.
Away?
Yeah, free kick, I think it was. That was quite good. But generally, there's not too many.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good stuff. So, as I mentioned, fans, listeners, put your team's moments of the season, your highlight, lowlight, player and goal, so we can just learn a little bit about your thought process, your club's seasons, really.
Also,
to see, I think.
And if you're a Spurs and Man United fan, do you agree with what we've said as highlights and lowlights? That's keen to know that, because I know we've got some Spurs fans that listen. So I
had a quick brainstorm for around a few moments of the season I'd like to just give an honourable mention to, which didn't involve Tottenham, but one was, I presume you saw Mike Dean celebrating in the crowd.
Yeah, I did.
For Tranmere. Yeah, that was absolutely majestic. I thought that was it's lovely to see just people just loving football, and Mike Dean is a bit of a character. Insert the word bellend. But it was nice to see him enjoy that moment. It was all it was missing was a topless shirt, kind of being wafted above his head type thing. But that was beautiful. Kepa refusing to be substituted in the League Cup final.
Okay, yeah.
That was just crazy. I can't believe it actually happened. But Kepa still plays in goal and Sarri's still manager. It seems like that is a dead cert for one player to be sold and or a manager to be sacked and whatever. It seemed like, but for them to both be carrying on like that didn't happen is quite amazing.
Okay, yeah.
I have spying.
Spygate.
Marco Bielsa's Leeds. Yeah, spying on Lampard's derby. So that was again just ridiculously brilliant.
Can I add into that Bielsa's PowerPoint presentation to prove how much work they do? I love that PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah. Oh, can I also mention the streaker in last night's Tottenham match?
I was just thinking that. Yeah, I was wondering if she'd get a mention.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I presume she was doing some advertising. She was far too attractive to be a person who likes streaking, and she wasn't nude. So
apparently, it was she is the husband. She is the husband. Her husband streaked in a final last year as well. Just a bit of a fact for you.
Couples who streak together stay together.
Well,
I've just seen a picture which really shows off her.
Oh yeah, is that the one that shows her
grapes.
flaps off?
Whoa,
Yeah.
Christ! Why she's eating it? Oh God!
Oh, the podcast has descended.
Uh-oh. Right, we'll end it there.
Well, I just want to add
Oh,
in,
it's going. It's
who's your?
going the same way as that.
What's your? Look, first off, before we get on to something else, I want to ask you. Josh has gone. Right. Goal of the season doesn't necessarily have to be from your own team. Goal of the season.
Yeah. Oh, goal of the
What is
season. It would have been. It's Messi's hat-trick goal against a team I can't remember. One where he's on the edge of the box and he chips it over the keeper, like back on himself, and it skims off the underside of the bar. Remember what I'm on about?
Who scored that?
Messi, you know, he's in the league. He just
Oh, I
dinks it
meant
from the edge of the
Messi.
box.
I meant in the Premier
Yeah.
League. I meant in the Premier League.
Oh, in the Premier League. Sorry, I thought you meant just in the season, the football season in general.
No, sorry.
It would probably be. Oh, it's going to be Eden Hazard against West Ham, or Eden Hazard against Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
Eden
All right.
Hazard goals. I just love a dribbling goal because it takes a lot more moments of skill rather than a long shot. Cause
So, okay.
Andros' Townsend's
Yes, I
goal
was going to
is
say,
fantastic.
can you guess my goal of the season? Because it's complete opposite
Yeah.
to yours. Andros Townsend is my goal of the season.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, now again, it is a thronker, but the moments that Hazard's got to go past so many players, and yeah, we like different goals, different
do.
goals for different needs.
Exactly. And then my final question to you, Josh, is this is episode, I keep calling it episodes, this is podcast 50.
Yeah,
Highlights in the first 50 episodes of Football Talk. There's one that stands out in my memory.
Yeah, there's one that stands out, but then there's also one where we were talking about WIKI Files, and we joked around that you liked English girls and you'd try a foreigner next week, and that we both lost it a little bit there. Any moment, if you listen back, where it all goes a little bit quiet because we're high-pitched laughing and just unable to contain ourselves, they're the highlights.
You mean like in today's episode where you just said it looked like it was
Yeah,
being
yeah,
eaten?
those Yeah.
Well,
Crikey.
again, I guess a good question for you guys listening would be, let us know down below in the first 50 podcasts what's your highlight so far, and if Michael Ballsack doesn't get mentioned, I'll be very disappointed.
Do you know what I realised last night?
What's that?
It's similar to Michael Ballsack.
Oh, God.
Divock Origi is a C away from being Div Cock Origi.
Oh God, right, wrap it
Cock
up.
and balls. Cock and balls. Imagine if his name was Divock Balak.
Div Cock Ballsack. Oh
There
God.
you go.
Oh God, wrap it up, Josh. Go on.
Wrap it up, right. Oh no, one last thing I want to talk about.
Oh,
One last thing.
okay, one last thing.
Because obviously this Wednesday and Thursday we see the semi-finals of the UEFA Nations League, don't we?
We do.
It has come around, and from when we're all like, oh, it's great, now I'm thinking, oh, fuck off, Nations League. Let my players have a rest. But will you be watching, and are you excited, Dave?
No, and not as much as I was when the qualifiers happened.
Yeah.
Although we were
Yeah,
chatting
that's
today,
pretty
we
much
were
it,
chatting
isn't it?
today in the pub that, you know, it's annoying that the football season's finished, and someone piped up from the back going, "The Nations League's on," and then it sort of got ignored, and somebody else went, "Yeah, but the Copa America's better, and that's on as well." So
Yeah.
we'll probably
Yeah, because we've got a
that.
summer of football. We've got Women's World Cup. We've got Under-20s. We've got Copa America. We've got African nations. So there's a lot to keep us busy over this summer, and you'll be hearing from us. We'll be covering all different things. We'll probably be talking transfers.
We will be talking transfers. Not we might be.
Yeah,
we will be.
we've got a few rebuilds going on across Europe. So we've got, lots of new managers in Serie A who want to be rebuilding. We've got Barcelona probably making a few big moves. We've got Real Madrid rebuilding, Man United, Arsenal, Chelsea, everybody. Well, not Chelsea. But yeah, there's a lot to get involved with and a lot of news to come from all those tournaments. So that should be exciting.
Yeah, very much so. I look forward to it.
Excellent. Right. I think that brings the end to this week's podcast, Dave. Do you agree? Unless you have one more thing.
No, I'm good. I'm
I
good.
agree. Well, Fantastic. So this will you'll be. Where will you be listened to? Oh, that's another question we need to ask: is how do people consume this? What's the most popular? We could look at the stats, but let us know how you like to consume this podcast. You can find us on YouTube at Football Talk, where we started. That's where we've been from day one. Since then, we are now on Spotify. Find us there, and we're on Twitter. A little bit of chat every now and then, some message, and we send out some polls and some questions. But remember, if you're following us on Twitter, there's no A in football. All right. Until next time.